All right, everybody, I am done with my weekend in London, and it was good times. I had a great time on Saturday, and I got to thank my buddy Sky for letting me crash at my old place there in the Bat Cave once again, and Teresa as well. You both looked great as Wolverine and Lady Deadpool. And I got to meet George Buza and Cal Dodd once again. So it's the second time I met Cal, the voice of Wolverine. First time I met the voice of Beast, Mr. George Buza. He was also a whole bunch of cartoons, on a whole bunch of shows growing up. I also got to meet Matt Taylor from Resident Evil Apocalypse, which is great because I worked on Resident Evil Apocalypse, in the slightest way, right? As location support. So basically a security job where I was monitoring the generator and I was watching all the trailers. So I was watching Matt Taylor's trailer. It had a sign on the door that said Nemesis. And at one point in the morning, they were like, "Somebody wake up Nemesis." So I went and I knocked on the door, and he never came out. But Mila Jovovich came out. Yes, I got to meet her briefly. Anyway, that's from 2003 in Toronto. So I finally got to meet Matt Taylor. That's great. He's a really big guy. He could be a wrestler. Who knows? Ernie Reyes Jr., boy, I had a good time talking with him as well. I bought an 8x10 autograph from him from The Rundown, where he's beating up Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, right? Back when he had hair. So it's a pretty good movie with Sean William Scott and Rosario Dawson and Christopher Walken, So, yeah, it was good times. At the con, the panels were a bit, I don't know, okay, so the Ninja Turtle panel I watched was pretty good, with Paige Turco, who played April O'Neil in the second Turtles movie, and James Saito, who played Shredder in the first Turtles movie. So great to see Oroko Saki and April O'Neil showing up. Ernie Reyes Jr., who was Donatello in the suit in the first film, and he had his own role. I think his name is Cooney, I think. Something like that. In Cooney, Kino, something like that. Kino, probably. I don't know. You tell me. But it's been a while. But anyway, it was great talking to him. Somebody asked him a really weird question about, what were you thinking when you made Three Ninjas or whatever? And then he said, well, I don't know, but you can come up here and I'll kick your ass. And he said in a smiling way, right? He wasn't angry. He was just saying no, you can come up here and I'll kick your ass. That was really funny. So I had the opportunity during that panel to ask Ernie Reyes Jr. about The Rundown and beating up The Rock and everything. I came in there with a good question after the bad question. Good Lord. So they had the Q&A on stage right in the main hall upstairs, and that was cool. I just wish that George Buza and Cal Dodd's Q&A were up on that stage, and there really was no Q&A. They had it downstairs on the main level, but which is fine. The only thing is that we weren't there to ask questions. It was just simply like a very truncated little panel. It was still a panel where the host, the moderator, was still asking questions to George and Cal, and they were delightful, of course, talking about having to re-audition for their roles and things like that, and loving Canada, of course, and loving X-Men. But it's too bad nobody got to ask any questions or nothing. It wasn't like a real panel. And I thought, what, for these Canadian actors, they may have been born in other countries, but they got a lot of their work here. I thought it was it's a little bit, I don't want to say disrespectful, but it was a little bit this could have been better, right? I don't know what's going on with panels, Q&A panels. Some of them have just been a little bit disappointing at all the cons, really. But I guess that's the way it goes sometimes. I just thought that part of it was too small. But overall, London Comic Con actually felt kind of small, quite frankly, and compared to previous years. And I have not been here in 5 years for this con, and I finally came out and I was able to do it. And it was great overall. Never mind the X-Men panel not being that awesome. Otherwise, it was great. Overall, it was good. There are a lot of cool vendors, a lot of cool things to do. This is the 10th year anniversary, I believe, of London Comic Con, because I remember going to the first one in 2014 with special guest Eric Roberts and Vernon Wells. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Man, so much has changed since then. So after living in London for about a decade or so, and then moving out of the Batcave, moving to the Ottawa area, really the greater Ottawa area, I've got to kind of get back on my feet and get out there again to a big city. Probably Ottawa, maybe Toronto, probably not though. Too much construction and the rent is high. So I'll probably just stay in Ottawa and look for work there and keep on doing that. But I do love London in terms of, the good memories. There's the good, the bad, and the ugly of living there, certainly. But there were some really good times and good memories and still some good friends there. So, so very happy overall with my weekend. And thank you to Jake, Andrew, I don't know who puts on the London Comic Con these days. I don't know, but thank you for putting on a very good con overall. I had a good time on Saturday. Big lineups for Kevin Eastman and Dante Basco and Shredder too. James Saito. I didn't get to meet him unfortunately because his lineup was so long, but that's okay. All right, so that's it for this video, guys. This is Neil from the car, and it's time to take a pee break and get back on the highway back home. All right, guys. Until next time, peace.